Hey friends! So, y'all know what time it is. It's time for another car review / car chat. So, today I wanted to chat with you guys a bit more about the Spellmonger series in general and about High Mage specifically. Again, just as always when I do these car reviews, like if I'm not looking directly at the camera, it's because I'm focused on the road. I'm trying to be safe here. Okay, so let's talk about High Mage. So in High Mage, we're back in Minolin's perspective, where the previous book we were following Tyndall and Rondell on their adventures. So now that we're back with Min, we had to travel back and cover what was happening while Tyndall and Rondell were gone. So we're getting some duplicate information across the board, and that's okay. That's allowed, of course. But it's one of those things where it got a little frustrating because of that, and that's okay. Like I said, it's not the end of the world that was the choice that was made by the author. We do have some things coming up. There were more dragon fights in this one, and they continue to find more and more ways to battle the dragons. I guess when I was talking about Mage Lord before, I didn't mention that there was a dragon. Yes, Sire K slayed the dragon in Mage Lord, and that was really fun, and I really enjoyed that part. I realized I didn't put that in that review, so if you haven't watched that, you're welcome to. I kept it pretty spoiler-free on most of it. But yes, so we see Sire K go after the dragons again, but we also see, why did I just forget her name? The youngest assistant, the girl with the bird. We see her take on a dragon and win, which is pretty awesome. I really loved that. The biggest thing we do is we spend a lot more time with the Alka Elan in this book, because Minolin now has the Alka Elan ambassadors from the end of Mage Lord and is working with them. And it just started to sprinkle a little bit. So if you hear lots of pitter patter, I'll try to filter it out best I can. So I'm hoping I don't have to reshoot this later. But anyhow, with that, the Alka Elan have chosen, like, the Alka Elan who are in Seven Door chose, like, in their human forms, they're female and they're tall and elegant and beautiful. And so all the men, like, fall at their feet and are amazing and gorgeous and all those good things, you know. And so what's happening is the Alka Elan officially invite Minolin to, like, a council meeting to discuss the state of the world, essentially. And all of the political dynamic of Minolin going to the Alka Elan world and stuff was super cool. I really loved that infusion to the story. That was one of the parts that stood out to me the most in this one. One thing we do see is that the king isn't so enamored with the mages at the moment, and once things are a little more under control, he kind of just doesn't want anything to do with the mages again, and, you know, wants them to go off into their little corners of the world and just be ignored, essentially. So he is a piece of work. But we already kind of knew that. Speaking of the family, Lady Isoli, we see her again in this book. And we haven't seen her since War Mage. But she makes an appearance, makes contact with Min, and meets Alia as well. You know, his baby mommy, essentially, plus his wife, are meeting for the first time. And that's a really awkward situation for Min. And thankfully, Penny's there, and she kind of helps diffuse the situation best she can, and it was really well done. Isoli is going to continue to come back up, I think, and be a bigger player as the series continues. But in this one, it was just kind of her, like, reinfusion into the story. Which, like I said, isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just there. And it was really well done. Even though there's a lot that I liked about this book, it kind of felt like a middle book. I hate to say it. It didn't infuse me with what I needed or wanted, I guess. So for me, it's kind of on that same level as Mage. It's not necessarily a bad book. It is just not the best book for me. It's much more Battle of the Gurvani centered, and that's not necessarily like my favorite part of the series or why I love reading this series. I like the characters quite a bit. The other thing that really kind of bugged me about this book is Minilin's randy nature, as we'll call it. So basically, he's back out in the field and stuff for a while, and, you know, girls are grateful, and so, of course, they automatically want to drop their panties and fall in front of him. And it just feels really misogynistic, like, as a woman reading it. Granted, as far as we know, Min does not cross that line, because he is trying to be faithful to Alia, but I do not like that is the vice of choice for Terry Mancour for Minilin. Just being a woman reading it makes me uncomfortable. So that's something that also, like, discouraged my enjoyment a little bit. And I've talked to my husband about it a little bit, and he says that this does continue kind of throughout the series. It's just kind of his vice and the thing he has to deal and battle with. And, you know, like, I get that that's a choice. I just don't know that I love that choice. But again, I think that's a Shae issue, not a Terry Mancour issue. So with that said, I gave this one 4 stars. I still really enjoyed it. And I do still really enjoy the world and the world building in this one. Like, what Terry Mancour is building in these first 5 books is brilliant. It really is. I do not understand why more people do not talk about this series on YouTube. I am, you know, granted, it took my husband a long time to get me to read it, and there are still moments where I cringe reading them. Just because, you know, I am a woman in my mid-30s, not, you know, necessarily. Granted, I don't know for certain who Terry wrote these books for, but I don't feel like I'm necessarily the target audience on this one, and that's okay. I don't need to be the target audience to enjoy a book. So, with that said, I think I'm going to leave this one there. But yeah, Mage, I gave 4 stars. I still really enjoyed it, and I do really like where it's headed. From what my husband says, the next book, Journeyman, is going to be one that I'm really going to like. Or Journey Mage. I don't remember what it's called. I'll put the cover up. But yeah. So as from what my husband said, I will really enjoy that one. So I'm looking forward to that very much. I'm taking a bit of a break because I did like Knight's Magi and Mage back to back. And I do think that may have affected my enjoyment level. Just because I really enjoyed Knight's Magi because of the difference in perspective. It was nice to listen to somebody other than Min. Granted, it was his apprentices, and one is definitely picking up some of Min's bad habits, but they are so different, and they needed to go through what they went through, and I'm so glad that we got to witness that, I guess, is where I'm headed. But anyhow, I really hope you guys will check this out. I mean, I'm 5 books into a high fantasy series, and still really enjoying it. And this is one, again, that's not the most popular series on the planet. If you like things like Sanderson and Wheel of Time and all those kinds of big epic fantasies, like, this is going to be a series you really enjoy. You know, just know that Min's a little misogynistic, but I think that's just, you know, and I don't know if that continues throughout the series. Like, from what my husband has told me, I gather it does, but I just might be reading more into things as well. So, with that said, I'm gonna finish heading home. I had actually gone to take my husband lunch and eat with him real quick because I was already out and about running some errands. I got my car detailed today. It looks all pretty and shiny, and it makes me really happy. And it just makes me more excited to film these kind of car vlog reviews for you. This is kind of a bonus video, I guess you could say. It wasn't necessarily planned on my schedule, but I'm really glad that I had the time and the opportunity to film it. So again, thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure you check out my other Spellmonger reviews if you haven't, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.